here today with somebody whose story is so remarkable. I'm so excited to talk to him. And his name is Dr. Richard Antoine White. He wrote a book, I Am Possible. It's a story of hope. He is a professor of Tuba, and he also is in the Philharmonic of Santa Fe and just has the most remarkable story. And welcome today to the show, Richard. It's so nice to have you on Passionate Living.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I feel like you are like one of like the poster child of passionate living because you have you've had challenges along the way who've I've always believed that challenges and pain oftentimes carve out space in the heart for more love if approached in a way of healing, and it also develops an immense amount of compassion and empathy toward the world. And I've found that people who've had a lot of challenges early on tend to want to do more to immerse themselves in making a difference in the world around them. And it seems like that is the journey that you've been on.
I think that is correct. I personally believe that there are thousands of problems in the world, but I also believe that 99% of them can be solved if we were just kind to one another. I think if we were honest about our grade and giving us a report card, I don't think we score as high as we want to in reference to being kind. I also think that, life is fair because it's unfair to everyone. So when life is good, embrace it. It's good. And I think we should enjoy that. When it's bad, I think we should just chalk it up to experience because all bad things have an expiration date. It's kind of a weird duality, right? The good won't last forever, nor will the bad, right? So
Yeah,
we should
isn't that the
embrace the
saying?
good.
If something's going wrong, just hold on, wait a moment. If something's going great, just hold on, wait a moment.
Yes.
Because
You
it will
know,
change.
I think you bring up a very interesting point. I don't know if it's because of my background, but I do feel a lot of compassion for the world. And I feel like because I've been blessed with what I call the three C's: a chance, choice, and change. We all just want a chance to make the right choices to see the kind of change that's going to be for the betterment of all. And because of that, I feel like I owe, because I'm privileged enough to have a chance and a choice. I owe. I don't want to let the person down next to me. I don't want to let the universe down. I don't want to let you down. If it was solely up to me, I would play my Nintendo Switch, eat potato chips and donuts, and sit on my couch. But I figure if I offer the world my very, very best, and you offer the world your very, very best, that has to equal something magnificent. So I'm looking forward to life and inspiring hope in everyone. So cumulatively, our very best is put forward.
Your journey is fascinating. Now, you single parent mom
Hmm.
raising you when you were young, and she had alcohol addiction issues,
Correct.
and
Yep.
it really, in some ways, carved out a path for you in life.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm often asked would I change anything in my life, and the answer is no. It's the hand I was dealt, and I played it to the best of my ability. I love my mom. I think she loved me, and she probably did the best she could do battling her own demons. But at the end of the day, she was wise enough and generous enough to do what has to be one of the hardest things for any parent to do, and that's to give their kid up.
Now, you were searching for her one night as a child. How old were you when that happened
Uh,
during the blizzard?
so much like any other kid, every day I woke up and I played in the streets. But much different from any other kid, I had a few tasks during that day. One was to find nourishment. I often found food in trash cans and would chew it and store it under my tongue because it was so unpredictable as to where my next meal would come from. I would find old discarded shoes, 4 or 5 sizes too big, stuff newspaper in them so they would fit. And obviously they would fall off. That's why I always ran around barefoot. It wasn't by choice. The shoes just didn't stay on. I tried to be creative with stuffing newspaper in them. But
Oh,
at the end of the day, my ultimate task was to find my mom. And some days I was successful, and other days I wasn't successful. And when I couldn't find her, I would sleep under trees on a cardboard, abandoned houses. And in the late '70s, there was this giant snowstorm. I was unsuccessful at finding her.
where were
I
you
crawled.
living? Where were you living? That was the blizzard of '77, right? That you're talking.
Yes, 77 or 78. Yes, the late '70s, and we didn't have a home. Like I guess you call it intermittent homelessness, where we didn't have a lease or house that belonged to us. It was just this friend let us stay here this night. We
Were
stayed there.
you on the East Coast? Where were you living?
Yes, Northeast Baltimore,
Where?
definitely.
Baltimore. Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was in Buffalo for that storm, so I
Oh,
remember that storm as a
yeah,
child.
the whole Northeast that got hit. I think you can look it up. The whole Northeast.
Yeah.
It was just historical storms. And I couldn't find her. So I crawled into what's known as the vestibule. It's just the space between the actual house and the outside. Next morning, I woke up with authorities surrounding me, and everyone realized that they had to have an intervention because if this happened again, I might not survive.
Right. And it was at that point that you moved in with your grandparents, correct?
Yes. So the same people that adopted my mom eventually adopted me. I think legal term is that they got legal custody of me,
Right.
and oftentimes I'm asked, how did I survive on the streets? And I think one of the gifts my mom gave me was an extraordinary imagination.
Mm.
Oftentimes I had to imagine a full stomach. I had to imagine a warm blanket to the point where it actually saved my life.
And this water fountain has got to be just as old as me. Oh, it still works. Wow. That was my bathroom, man.
And my foster parents are just generous, kind people. When I talk about uh, 99% of the world's problem can be solved if we were just kind, they are kind. And I think what's most important when you talk about this passion and sense of purpose is that it's collective. I really say in my book, every friend, every teacher, every mentor, every stranger I have ever met, I credit with helping me become the person that I am. Because oftentimes in our society, we don't understand the difference between recognizing and acknowledge. Oftentimes we drive down the street and we recognize the homeless person because we see them every day, panhandling or whatever they're doing. But to acknowledge them would simply be to stop and say, "Hello, how are you?" And it costs nothing to do that.
Now tell me about tuba. How did you end up playing tuba? Why tuba? And you've
Oh,
broken some thresholds with tuba in as far as
yes, I think
like diversity.
I've been lucky. So in fourth grade, some amazing magic person came to school with all the instruments
Right.
and played them. And I looked at my best friend Dante Winslow, who's a very accomplished trumpet player, Justin Timberlake, Queen Latifah, and I said, "Hey man, we should pick trumpet. It only got three valves. It's got to be easy." Boy, was I wrong. It was really hard. So by the time we got to middle school, I was like number 18 out of 30 some trumpets. I was like, this ain't working out, man. I looked up and saw the sousaphone player, and it was only one of those. I was like, I want to play that. It's only one. And so I asked to play sousaphone, switched to sousaphone, and it became my kindred spirit. It's big, it's clumsy,
Right.
it's the butt of a lot of jokes. It just represented my life. And throughout middle school, then high school, it became apparent like, man, where else in the world can you play tuba and be cool? I was cool at the Baltimore School for the Arts. For your listeners that don't know, Harvey Phillips was my mentor. He inspired the tuba ranch for me. Harvey Phillips is the Paganini of tuba. In fact, they call me Little Harvey Jr. because I'm inspired by his thinking and his belief. I call him the dreamer. My next book is going to be the 5 educative languages of teaching.
Oh,
And one
wow.
of the teachers is the dreamer. And that's Mr. Phillips. He installed in me this concept of dreaming.
I was on the subway one day and I was talking to my dad. I was like, man, I don't need no doctorate. I'm done. And a little kid overheard it. And so as I was getting off the train, the little kid said, hey, mister, you got a doctorate? I knew then I had to finish the doctorate so that I could show this little kid that he could do it too.
Now, you are the first African American to receive a doctorate in music as a tuba.
Yeah, there's a lot of I actually become subconscious about the first. So I get calls. I'll get calls that say, "Hey man, I know such and such in 19 something something they got a DMA in tuba. So I don't know if you're actually the first." And I was like, "No, that's great. I don't have a doctorate of musical arts. I have a doctorate of music. Definitely the first." They go, "Oh." And then as of a few months ago, I am the only African American male full professor of tuba in the country.
Wow.
It's a big
Oh,
deal to be
that's amazing. That is a big deal.
full professor,
Wow.
and I'm very proud of it. I think, I once had a conversation with someone that's like, well, we shouldn't go crazy about being the first. Here's the deal. I think everyone should be acknowledged when they're the first, because what that means is no one gave you warning.
Right.
No one told you what to look out for. You did this all by yourself, and it's not to glorify you. It's to glorify the path that others will take after you so that they have an easier chance to do it. That's why you identify with someone that's the first at something. It's not because I want to elevate myself. I want to elevate those who are going to come after me, because this is just the beginning.
Right.
And that's what we fail to forget when someone's the first. It's like, oh my gosh, this is not the end. This is the beginning.
Thank you. Oh my God. This has been such a joy today to meet you and to connect with you and to
Yes.
have you on the show. And like I said, you are just the prime example of what it is to live passionately, to use your passions to change the world around you, and to use the challenges early on, as you said, as stepping points to
Yes.
go up to this new levels of greatness and to bring everyone with you.
I am very grateful for the time I had to spend with you today and Passionate Living. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Richard.
They see it and see where he came from, and he made out fine. They're going to want to do the same thing.
Thank you for joining us today for our special edition of Passionate Living for Black History Month.
Yes, and if you want to see more episodes of Passionate Living, go to our website at passionateliving.com or to our YouTube channel, Passionate Living TV. And of course, you can see us every week on WBBZ, your hometown MeTV station, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. And I invite you today to do one little thing for self-care, for just to take care of yourself, just to give yourself a little love during the day, even if it's 5 minutes. Maybe like a little pedicure, a walk out in the park, or a little special treat. What would you do?
I would take a nap.
Or a nap. And please make sure to join us next week on Passionate Living.